continues.
Many of us vowed to make lifestyle changes to get fit or shed some pounds, and our friend in fitness, Noelle Owens, with TrueFit, is helping us on that ride.
We hung out with her for a little bit yesterday, and we're going to find out the proper way to do a squat, as well as find out why, when it comes to seeing results and preventing injury, form is everything.
All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that all of the body parts are working synergistically and in balance, just to make sure that he doesn't hurt himself. So the first thing we're going to do is have him sit on a bench and then have him stand back up. Okay. Right? So if you'll do 3 of those for me, Austin.
All right, here we go.
So you notice that his back stays in a neutral position. His knees go slightly over his toes, and he's using his arm as a counterbalance, which is actually very smart because most of our clients are driven by the front side. Now, once we've realized that he can do that, and he did successfully, way to go, fist bump me, thanks. All right, take a step forward. So now we're like, okay, he can do that. We still want to challenge our members. So now we're going to move him into a body weight squat. So if you'll do 3 of those for me. Now we still want to make sure that those things are still available. His back is still in neutral. Go ahead. Good. His knees are slightly over his toes. You'll notice that his toes are slightly lifted up in his tennis shoes to force his hamstrings and glutes to work. And we want to make sure that he's able to go down low enough to make it even worth his time. Good. We want to make sure that the weight is heavy enough for it to be challenging, and that it meets the needs of the client. Not everybody needs to go heavy, and not everybody needs to go light, and that's usually determined in the very beginning through the assessment. Okay. Now, once we have now that he's loaded, we want to make sure that this is challenging enough and he's still able to maintain good form. Okay, go ahead. Now, Austin has selected to do a front squat, which actually puts a little bit more pressure on the quads. Usually this will be effective if someone is determined to have overly active quads and underactive hamstrings. Because you want to teach those overactive muscles to talk well and play well with others, thus, you know, making sure that he doesn't get injured.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense? All right, cool.
Now, I didn't have time to change clothes yesterday, so Rick kind of caught me slipping with that. But Noelle just showed you the basics of good form with front-loaded squats.
And I was just about to tell you to, like, look a little overdressed.
Yeah, I felt so out of place with this.
Look good, though.
I appreciate
best
that.
dress there.
I appreciate that.
And coming up a little bit later in the show, part 2, where we'll move over to the bar, where she and Austin will show us how to squat the correct way using a barbell across the shoulders. Yeah, so you probably couldn't do a squat with full dress like that, right?
No, I wasn't even going to attempt to do that.
Probably could, but
I could do a
something's
squat.
going to rip, probably.
Yeah,
knowing how
that suit would not look that great. Nope.
Today in Amarillo continues.
It's part 2 of Turning Up with Noelle Owens at TrueFit, and today she's showing us how to squat using proper form. In part 1, we learned proper form basics with body weight squats. Now we'll take it up a notch at the squat rack using a barbell.
It's really important when you're starting a squat that we make sure that those same alignment issues, right, are stable. We want to make sure that front to back, left to right, up to down. So we're going to place him under the bar first. He's going to drive from the heels, and now he's going to pull up the bar. Never, ever pull up a bar, and if you'll show us here, Austin, real quick, place the bar back. Now, never, ever pick up the bar with one leg. So you've seen people start in a lunge formation, so go ahead and put one foot in front of the other. Now try to lift it. Okay, it's not as effective. You'll notice that one side lifted over the other. Yeah. Both sides are supposed to lift that weight at the same time, the same way. So if we start this way, we're gonna get injured this way. Make sense? All right, sir, if you'll place that up on your neck. Very good, take a step back. Now you don't wanna go too far away, right? Just in case something happens, you wanna be able to melt into the bar and keep yourself safe.
Right.
Now, an Olympic squat is very important that you continue to have your shoulder blades pinched. Your back stays in a neutral position, and we drop the booty first. Okay. So if you'll step down and show us 3 good squats, sir. Good. Now notice, he's not going all the way down. He's not going much below 90 degrees. And there's a reason for that. Okay. The quads, if you come down, the quads are not supposed to lift this weight. Quads and hamstrings are, and they're supposed to do it together. Drive through the heel, lift it back up. Now, tuck in those hips and make sure that your hip gets to play. Okay, one more time, down you go. Drive from the heels all the way up. Done. When you're done, you should be able to walk forward and gently place the bar. Now, things to be aware of. So when the heels come up, it does mean there's too much weight, and it does mean that that's poor form. It means you're not doing a squat, you're doing something else. So if you find that that's happening, lighten the weight or try something else like a leg press. If you find that you have butterfly knees are when you come down into that squat. Yeah, so Austin, will you show us what butterfly knees looks like? Come on down. There we go. And then come back up. If you find that your knees are looking like butterflies, that also means that your glutes and hamstrings aren't doing their job. It means that your outer and inner thigh are doing their job for them. And you already noticed they're not as big as a booty and the glutes and the hamstrings, right? So you're not doing a squat, you're doing something else. So my advice is leave your pride at the door when it comes to putting weight on your back. Evolve it the right way, and once you get under that bar, be prepared to take some weight off if you find that you're actually not doing a squat.
It's true. Now, Noelle says don't be afraid to start off light until you get your form right, because without the proper form, you won't see the results and you're increasing your risk of getting injured. And without proper form in the gym, you're wasting your time. Remember, safety first and never be afraid to ask questions.